Hello, 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 hello. This is Larrissa with Be You Beautiful One. Welcome to my channel. I am so glad that you are here. Well, listen, guys, we're continuing on with our process video of how to set up your In Touch devotional journal style. In this video, we're going to talk about how to create a pocket on the inside cover, as well as how to assembly your pages together inside your devotional book. So, let's get started. The pocket will go here. I'm going to go ahead and add the pocket now. And so what I do is I line this up. I will take some washi tape. Oh, by the way, sometimes some people like to cut this corner off to give it some breathing room for the pocket. It's totally up to you. You don't have to make it too deep of a cut, but I just round off my corners. And again, if I was gifting this or selling this, I would probably use a rounder or measure it out a little bit better. But again, when it's for your use, it's totally up to you how you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to put this washi tape here. And for those of you who are new to journaling or paper crafting, washi tape is paper, really thin paper, where one side of it is sticky, but it's a light adhesive, and generally is meant to be movable. It's not a permanent adhesive, and they come in various decorative paper. So you can almost think of it like really thin paper that's flexible and has an adhesive on it, and it does adhere really well. But I can pull this off and it not interrupt my paper. It won't damage my paper for the most part, depending on the type of paper. But it's a great way to decorate your pages. Okay. And I plan to do more like how-tos and whys. And like for this example, I'm just pulling this back up because I really didn't have it on here good. And sometimes what I like to do, just for the sake of not having to recut my paper if I measure wrong, I will sometimes leave a little bit of a space between the bottom of the page and this. That way it just gives me some room for growth. Not for growth, but error. And what I can do is I can always come back and use washi tape down below to even add more security to the pocket. And I'll show you that as well. Or you can go edge to edge. It's totally up to you, of course. So now I'm going to use some adhesive tape. This is like whiteout, but it's adhesive tape instead. This particular brand is Aztec Crafters tape. You can get it at Michael's, Joann's. There's several different brands, but I'm a lefty, so it doesn't matter which brand I use. The dispenser is always going to give me a hard time. So, and I'm putting some paper underneath here so that while I'm doing this, if I run off the edge, I am protecting the rest of my booklet here. And so I only want to do the outside border and the edge. So the bottom and the side, of course, just in case you guys are not familiar with this. And that way, see, I ran off the line there, the edge, which is okay, but the additional paper caught it versus it going onto my page. And I don't want to do the top of the pocket. And I want to make sure I get this. Now, this process usually doesn't take that long, but because I'm explaining as I go along, it's taking a little bit longer. And so I did one side first, and as you can see, it's not going through. But for the sake of feeling secured in my pocket, I'm still going to take washi tape and put it down at the bottom. I can also take some and put it on the edge over here, or I could use like white or clear, regular clear tape and put it, you know, along here just to enforce the adhesive, just in case. Now, this side I didn't tack down yet, but now I'm going to take this side and add adhesive to it. I don't need to use this for this side because it's already in place. Normally I wouldn't reuse my scrap paper for this. I would probably find something I really don't want to use, but I don't plan to use this. But this I would normally keep for other stuff, or to add even more deco to this, which I still can, but it'll just have tape on it. So again, I'm doing the bottom page of the pocket. Whoops. Now I'm going to do the side. And I prefer using the adhesive tape versus like glue, like liquid glue or glue stick, only because at least I have a little bit more control, quote unquote, over the placement of the adhesive tape. And it's just more cleaner, gives it a more cleaner edging, whereas the a liquid adhesive would maybe run and spread, and so, and you don't want to do that. You want to have a clear-cut pocket. So now I have my pockets, right? And they're clean. Now, once I didn't put any adhesive down the middle here, but what'll happen is when I get ready to bind my pages together, this will automatically adhere to the page, and that way it has still the room for the pocket itself. Okay. So if you find that you are not feeling secure in your edging of your adhesive skill sets, what you can do is you can, one, use tape. Put it on the edge here, and then fold it over the edge. Or you could do some decorative tape. And then fold it over the edge, like so. And you could create like an edging for your book. And then because I did this, I personally would come back and do the length as well. But that's just me. It depends on what you want. It's all about you. Now, washi tape is funny when it comes to this, because if it's too tight, it'll buckle the paper. The wonderful thing about washi, if you want a perfect edge, you can just line your ruler up here, put some pressure down, and tear. And then I'll do it on this side too. I also use gift cards as well, but I've been doing some movement of my craft area, so I don't have it at hand. So I'm using my roller. Fill that up. Flip it over. Okay. And I guess it's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. This is for demonstration purposes. And I can go around even more of the rest of the edge if I want, but it's totally up to you. I normally would pick something that would complement this a little bit more, but I wanted it to be a little bit more noticeable. So again, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. But I might as well finish out the process here. I accidentally tore my washi tape. I don't know how I did that, but it's okay. Now, I am a little bit antsy over washi tape, so I probably would have taken more time to to fix that, but just put a band-aid over it. keep it moving, keep it moving. So again, I'm using washi tape that stands out just for demonstration purposes. My personal taste is I would have picked something that complemented the paper a lot better. I like using the ruler or gift card better because I can get right to the edge, whereas if I'm using scissors, sometimes I don't get close enough. Okay. Might as well just go ahead and do this too. And washi tape is so thin that most of the time you can just tear it with your fingers. And sometimes it's nice to have that rough edge. Okay, so that's for demonstration purposes. If you want, you can cut a little groove right here so that your pocket is not sticking down. Take some dull scissors here. That way, if my pocket has room to breathe as I add things, it might be okay. Okay, cool. All right. So next thing is we're going to, so there, now you see the book covers, the cover covers the book really well, which is what we want. Now, for the fantabulous part, we want to move the staples from the book. Now you can use a staple remover, or I'm just going to use my bone tool here. Just lift those up, the edges up. Whoops. Flip it over. And now I should just be able to pop these up. Put these staples in a safe place if you're not able to throw it away right then and there. Okay, so this middle page I don't keep. Make sure you take these little tab parts off. Okay, so we now have taken out the staples and we took out that top page. Now what we're going to do is add in paper. And so I usually keep these pages in here because sometimes there may be reference material that I would like to just refer to later on. It's totally up to you. But I don't start adding in additional sheets until the actual devotional lessons start. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 sheets for sure, and 10, because I want to have, even though it's going to be the middle sheet, I want to have a side for each of those, which is going to cause either, it's going to cause me to have the top sheet, it's not going to have anything as far as devotional related, and usually I'll just decorate that, and I'll show you that, what I mean. Okay, so I need 10 sheets. I'm just going to use copy sheets. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I now have 10 sheets here. Now, what I like to do for these 10 sheets is I like to go ahead and fold them in half. And there's several ways to do this, but I will explain why I'm taking all 10 sheets and just folding it into half. Because what you will realize is that when you have all 10 sheets together, it creates this outer edge in here, which represents technically the booklet itself. Because as I put in these pages in between here, if I don't cut the pages right, when I close my book, it's going to look like this. And I'm not a professional, so most of the time it will look like this, where the inside edges are wider than the outside. But my goal is to try to get rid of as much of this as possible. And I found that when I do it this way, it helps because I am now creating my fold to represent the booklet. So I'm going to go based off of this fold, okay? And I'm going to move my booklet out of the way. I'm going to bring back over my cutting board. And the measurement for this is, when the book is folded, it is 5 3/8. So I'm counting 6 lines over because that's 6/18. Oops. 1, 2. Okay. And now I may have folded it crooked. It's okay though. 1, 2. And now I'm just gonna cut the pages here. And it didn't go all the way through, so I'm going to flip it to the other side and do 5 3/8 again. And let's pray that it all blends together here. Now, if you have like an actual chopping board, this may be a lot easier to do it that way, but my chopping board is too big to demonstrate on my desk, so I'm using this. And the most part, we have gotten rid of the overhang. From this point, you can use your scissors if you feel comfortable. And I usually don't like to use my scissors because I create rough edges. But I saw a little bit of an overhang, so now I feel better. Now, if you want, you could take your corner cutter and cut your corners, round them off, or whatever you want to do to make it look better, if that's something you want. I have day one. And I'm just working from the outside in, alternating the pages. And you could do this, making sure everything is lined up as you go along, but I didn't. And see, naturally, because we're adding paper, it's going to automatically poke out. But I'm not going to cut it anymore because the lessons are now poking out. But when I add my book cover, nothing is poking out. And I actually still have a lot more room, so I can even go less than a ½ inch wider. I could probably do like 1/4 of an inch, but whatever you decide to do. So I could go back in right now and cut it off, but I'm not going to. Because I like to make for sure I have room. And again, I might add other elements such as pictures and washi tape, which will help to expand. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. The middle page is blank because I'm using blank sheet of paper. Sometimes I will use scrapbook paper, and the middle would be decorated, but then the pages facing the lesson will be blank. So this is the end of the part 3 video. I am going to continue on in the next video where I will show you how to actually bind your pages together inside the cover. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so that whenever I go live or post a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. See you next time. Bye.